NFL trade rumors continue to circulate with the trade deadline just 13 days away. My name is Harrison Graham. This is 4 Verts. We're going to get you caught up on the latest as teams are starting to figure out, are they buyers, are they sellers, which players are available. Let's dive into some of the latest topics here. Maxx Crosby, there was a moment yesterday like, is there momentum? Could the Raiders actually finally consider trading Maxx? But it appears that is not going to be the case. Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, says that the Raiders met with Maxx today, which was yesterday, and that they will not trade him. Sources tell him and Jane Slater, while other teams are interested, the Raiders aren't interested in moving their best player, and Crosby wants to stay in Las Vegas. Pelissero also added that nobody wants to win more than Maxx Crosby, and he wants to do it with the Raiders. Despite various rumors with the trade deadline 2 weeks away, the face of the franchise isn't leaving Las Vegas. This is disappointing to say the least, on a number of levels. One, I just feel like this guy's career is being wasted. I mean, he is a phenomenal player. He's a rare defensive lineman that rarely comes out of the game. I mean, most guys, even the good ones, rotate in and out, play 75, 80% of the snaps. This guy's 90, 95 plus. And it just doesn't feel like the Raiders are that close. That's number one. And number two, just as a NFL consumer, a content creator, like, this would be great. It'd be fun to see him get dealt and react to that. And the big rumor and the report from Trey Wingo, former ESPN personality, now has a YouTube show, he reported that the Cowboys had made inquiries with the Raiders about Maxx Crosby. And it's also been reported by others that, Jeremy Fowler today, that Dallas is trying to add an impactful defensive player. Well, Maxx Crosby is certainly that. And I still do want to spend some time on what this would look like if Dallas were to get him, because obviously they made the bold move to trade Micah Parsons for 2 first-round picks, and obviously the defensive tackle, Kenny Clark, with Green Bay. But Kenny Clark's a fine player. They have been brutal defensively without Micah. And Maxx Crosby, if you were to bring him in, that makes Dallas a pretty fascinating watch, because he might be a tick less than Micah as a pure pass rusher, but as an overall player, he is better against the run. He plays a larger percentage of the snaps. Like, he would make that team pretty interesting. He doesn't make that defense great all of a sudden, but it goes from bad to average. And if you're average defensively right now, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, the way Dak Prescott's playing, he's playing at a career level. He's playing at an MVP caliber level. I said it coming into the season. I could see this Dallas team being like the Bengals from last year, where Dak puts up a bunch of numbers with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, kind of like Joe Burrow did last year with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but the defense can't hold its share of the bargain, and that's kind of been the case. They're 3-3-1, yet their quarterback's playing like a team that should be, 6-1. Like, he's been absolutely phenomenal, but the defense sucks, and that's why they're losing shootouts to Carolina, and they're tying 40-40 with Green Bay because Dak has to play perfect ball for them to win. You get Maxx Crosby, it increases that margin for error. Again, there's still holes on that defense, but it makes Dallas pretty formidable, if we're being completely honest. And look, from a Raiders standpoint, too, it's just like, just trade him, man. And look, if he goes to you and says, don't trade me, I want to be here, what are you going to do? Tell the face of the franchise or screw you, we're trading you? I get that part of it, and maybe that's what's happening. But, like, if you're Maxx Crosby, especially if it were Dallas, like, if he's, concerned about the brand, and I've talked to our Raiders host here, Mitchell Rentz, he has said, look, if he's a Raider for his entire career, he could be a potential minority owner in the future. And I get it. There's business branding aspect of this. But, like, you go to Dallas, it's like, it's pretty damn big brand. you want to expand your brand. He's from Texas. I don't know, man. If I'm Maxx Crosby, at some point something's got to give. And if you're the Raiders, like, if you could get 2 1s and a 2, like, just commit to this rebuild, man. Like, you are far away right now, especially if Geno can't get this thing figured out, and he has been atrocious here in 2025. Also, got to give shout out to the best insider in the game, Ricky the Dog. No one does it better. He had this hours before Pelissero. He saw the Trey Wingo thing gaining steam, and he activated his account, Ricky Scoops, and said the Raiders are not telling Maxx Crosby. He had another scoop we're going to get to here in a little bit as well, but got to show my guy Ricky love. He's a real one, man. The dog was barking, and unfortunately he was shutting down those reports. All right, should the Raiders trade Maxx Crosby? I think they should. Type Y for yes. Type in for no. What say you? All right. Speaking of the Raiders, Jakobi Meyers, who requested a trade during the preseason amid contract disputes, he wants an extension. That didn't happen. He still wants out. He was asked about his status yesterday with the trade deadline coming around the corner and him being linked to trade rumors. He said, I got no control over that. If I'm here, I'm here. He was asked, do you want to be here? He said, oh, for sure, but I'm a professional at the end of the day. I'm just trying to play good football. And look, I get the Crosby angle if you're the Raiders. If he wants to be there, like, I understand keeping him. He's a face of the franchise. He puts butts in seats. I understand. He's an elite player. You don't just give those guys away for no reason. But, like, Jakobi Meyers is a nice number 2 receiver, but you drafted 2 receivers, Jack Bech and Dante Thornton. Thornton's played a decent amount. Bech isn't playing that much at all. You're going nowhere this year. Play the rookies and trade Jakobi Meyers. I get it. You're probably not going to get a great return, but, like, if you can get a 4th or even a 5th, I mean, are you going to get better in free agent comp and a comp pick if he hits the open market? At best, you could do a 3rd, and I don't think that's very likely. So I would trade Jakobi, to a team like the Giants, the Steelers, whoever, and I would lean into these rooks. That makes a lot of sense to me. All right, we are sponsored by PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Get started with PrizePicks today right there. You and I make decisions every day, but being right on PrizePicks can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season with PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. I've had a great season on PrizePicks. The way it works is simple. You pick 2 or more players, up to 6, in any given lineup, regardless of sport. You can cross over sports. Basketball is back. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of football lineups. You want to do 1 football player, 1 basketball player, 1 hockey player for a 3-player lineup, do it. You can do so with PrizePicks, and if you hit, you win money. It's very, very simple how it works. You pick more or less on the stat projections, and you let it fly. You let it rip. 2-player lineup I've got for this upcoming weekend. I'll definitely launch more lineups. More on Derrick Henry, half a rushing or receiving touchdown, and then also more on Rome Odunze to find the end zone as well, rushing or receiving. He had 5 touchdowns the first 4 weeks of the season, 0 the last 2 weeks, so he's kind of due. Also, Henry and the Ravens coming off the bye, and Lamar might not play, so you would think he's going to have a heavy workload. $20 entry to win $55 on that one. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, Jermaine Johnson with the Jets. Is he going to get traded? This is a name that's gained some steam. Some reports yesterday. ESPN named him as a trade candidate today. Again, Ricky Scoops. He activates his accounts, shuts down the Crosby buzz, but leans into the Jermaine Johnson one. Says that he is someone that the Jets are getting calls on, and that they would be willing to trade potentially. So Jermaine Johnson, someone to keep an eye on here. And he's had kind of a unique career, right? Rookie year, pass rushers, it takes time. Showed some flashes, 2.5 sacks. Had that nice breakthrough second year with 7.5 sacks. Felt like that year 3 takeoff, which is typically when offensive and defensive linemen really hit their stride, rips the Achilles. So missed the last 15 games of last year, had an ankle thing, missed the first 3 games this year. But his flashed since he's returned, just 1 sack in 4 games, but his pass rush win rate is over 12%, which is a solid number. I would guess the Jets would ask for a 3rd because the 5th-year option has been exercised, so they have control of him through next year. It's not like they have to trade him. He's still a young player who could ascend in theory, especially as he continues to work his way back. Would they settle for a 4th? Like, if I'm an opposing team, I would offer a 4th for Jermaine Johnson for 1.5 years of team control because you don't have to rush to an extension. Jalen Phillips, for example, who's been on the trade block with Miami, he's already in the 5th-year option. So, like, if you trade for him, you really need to commit to an extension for a trade to make sense. Jordan Schultz also mentioned some other Jets trade candidates that he's been hearing about in addition to Jermaine Johnson. That includes Will McDonald. Breece Hall has been a hot name, obviously, for weeks now, really dating back to last year. So keep an eye on him, especially if the Jets continue to struggle. Quincy Williams, who just had his practice window opened for short-term IR, sounds like he's getting healthy. He could be on the move. Alan Lazard, Jets would probably have to eat some money on that contract to make a trade. And then Michael Carter, a corner, if a team's looking for an okay CB2 or a depth piece. So a couple of or a handful of names, I should say, there for the Jets for NFL fans to monitor, especially if your team's looking, for an edge defensive player or a running back like Breece Hall. And look, I think the bottom line, the Jets have 10, 12, 13 days here to decide who do we for sure like long term. I think like between Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald, for example, I would pick one and trade the other. Like, I don't think it makes sense to trade both. They're both young players that could be worthy of a second contract, but who do you like more? Who fits in with what you're trying to do? Pick that guy, trade the other one. Breece Hall, I've said it. I would trade him. Like, he's entering free agency. You're going to pay him more than $10 million per year. You're an 0-7 team. Does keeping Breece Hall for 3 years and $35 million make sense with where you're at right now? I would say no. Braylon Allen's going to be back soon. You have him for 2 more years under contract. So Jets, Aaron Glenn, Darren Moogie, they got to figure out who they like long-term on this team. And guys who they don't, I'd make them available for trade. You're 0-7, man. A lot of guys should be made available. All right, fill in the blank. The Jets will win blank games this year. I saw their more or less PrizePicks style is 3.5 still. I mean, I would be hammering the less. They're going to win 4 games in the next 10. I mean, if they go 4-6 the final 10 games, that's a pretty impressive turnaround with how ugly this thing has been. So I'll say 2. I think they'll luck into 1, and then, maybe there's a Week 18 scenario where the team's resting. I don't even know who they play Week 18, but it's bad, man. I do not like what I'm seeing from the Jets right now. All right, subscribe to the channel. Trade rumors season is here. We will continue to hammer those home. Thursday Night Football tomorrow night as well, so we'll have a reaction to that. We'll continue to monitor things that are happening within the season as well. It's not just all going to be trade content. College football videos as well, especially on Saturdays. So stay locked in here. We'll continue to bring the content. And if you want to support, all you got to do is subscribe. See ya.